So the question is, how did I go from that to this? Hey my lovelies, welcome back to my channel where I break down the fundamentals of my hair care. In today's video, we'll be addressing my shedding issue. Now, if you have been following me for some time, you know that I've struggled with shedding. I've done videos explaining my hair loss, showing the extent of my hair loss, and today we are at a stage where my hair loss is manageable. My hair loss is not as excessive, and most of you in a previous video indicated that you would love to know what I did in order to minimize my shedding. Let's get into it. So let's talk about the history of my shedding. How did it start? So I remember from the very first time that I became relaxed. Tell a lie, it was when I actually started wanting to take care of my hair. So when I started my health journey, my healthy healthcare journey, I think that was back in 2010. I realized that I lost a lot of hair, and the thing is that you don't know how much hair is considered to be a lot until you've watched other people's like wash days, for instance. So I'm not sure how many of us remember, I think her name is Stacy from Kiss, Keep It Simple Sister. And I remember growing up on her, watching her videos, a wash day in particular that she did, and she was showing how she was detangling her hair, and when I tell you, she barely lost any hair. And I thought to myself, okay, what is happening? Why is she losing so little hair? And me, on the other hand, I'm losing so much. At that point, I started to feel a little insecure, and I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the reasons that held me back from even starting this channel, because I was like, there's so many issues going on with my hair. I'm losing so much hair. How do I come on and tell people how to take care of their hair when I don't even know what's happening with mine? So that started or fueled a lot of insecurities. I remember as well heading to the hair salon. I was getting a relaxer that day, and the owner of the salon told one of her assistants to, rinse out my relaxer. And as she was rinsing out the relaxer, the amount of hair that was coming out of my head was alarming for her. And she didn't want to, spark some concern loudly. So she went over to the owner and she was like, oh, there's a lot of hair. There's a lot of hair coming out of her head. And the owner as well, she didn't want to raise an issue. So she came over to the sink and she's like, no, it's okay. It wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. It was a lot of hair. It was a lot of hair that I was losing. And that's why it's so important that you find a good stylist, because a good stylist would have said, Adina, like, we're not accustomed to seeing so much hair loss on Relax a Day. Do you want to, is there something happening with you health-wise? What's going on? You know what I mean? She just brushed it over. She literally just brushed it over. But I think in addition to me losing hair is the fact that I have fine hair as well. So having fine hair and, constant or excessive shedding, like, I was running the risk of just not having any hair on my head at all. It was to the point that I questioned, was it the products that I was using? Was it my routine? Was something off? Were the products that I was using, blocking the hair follicles, or, I didn't know. So I felt like somebody needed to tell me what to do, because I was just looking on the internet for all sort of things. So I was doing black tea rinses at one point. I was using hair oils, because people were saying, it's when your scalp is dry, and I suffer with dry scalp. That's why you're losing so much hair. I was steaming, regular steaming, and hot oil treatments as well. And these to me were like temporary fixes, because the issue was a lot bigger. So I want us to get into my individual issue as to why I was losing so much hair. From a very young age, I was told that I was anemic, and my anemia stemmed from my heavy periods or heavy cycles every single month. So it's not a case where it was like, oh, heavy period this month and the rest of the time I'm fine. It's constant. So I would constantly need to be in a position where I'm refueling my body with blood in order for it to be at that safe level. So, over the years I've taken supplements, but I've only taken the supplements when I was told by a medical professional that I needed to take the supplements. You know what I mean? So I would go get a blood test. They would tell me, okay, you need supplements. I would go to the pharmacy, get the supplements they would prescribe, and after they prescribe them, that's it, I would stop. I know, don't judge me. But things started to get serious. Apart from me being extremely fatigued, I started to notice a few other symptoms. So I think it was sometime last year, the year before, my feet started to swell and I just couldn't understand it. I blamed it on me being in the UK and, you know, excessive walking. Maybe I'm not wearing comfortable shoes. But at one point, it then started to just be one foot. And I was like, why is it that it's just one of my feet? And it would happen every single day. Almost every time I left the house, I came back home, I would see it. Sometimes I wouldn't even have to be walking. Like, I'll just be up. And at the end of the day, my foot will be swollen. I was having heart palpitations, or my heart rate was, you know, would increase sometimes. I remember leaving the train station and I was walking to work and I just felt my heart go budup. And I stopped because it scared the heck out of me. So I stopped and I held my heart and I was like, I looked around because I was like, what is happening? I was so scared, but I kept on walking. And it happened periodically, but at that point I became really scared, but I still did not link it to low iron. Throughout my life, I've always had cold hands and cold feet, and I just thought that it was normal. So it was to the extent, I remember a few years ago while I was in the UK, I got hives. I got extreme hives on my hands and on my feet, and I think it was because my hands and my feet were so extremely cold, my body didn't know how to react. And now that I'm looking back at it, I was like, oh shucks, my iron levels were probably low at that point. I would feel dizzy. So after taking a shower, I would literally have to run out of the bathroom and just turn on my fan because I would feel so lightheaded and dizzy. It was just unbelievable. Like, blood seems like it wasn't flowing all the way up to my head because of how my body felt overheated. Now I'm looking back at it, I was like, oh, iron levels were probably low. Now all of this got to the stage where I ended up in the hospital and I had to do a transfusion in order to get some more blood into my system. It was to the point where the doctors were like, I'm not even sure how you're standing or how you're still surviving. They said that it was probably down to adrenaline that had me going because my blood count was so significantly low. And of course, with all of that, I was losing hair. I was losing considerable amounts of hair every single week. Sometimes I wanted to cry. Like right now, I'm getting really emotional. Because when you saw the amount of hair that was coming out of my head on some wash days, I was like, what is happening? What is going on with me? And for some reason, I didn't think that it was to do with my health. I really thought that it was something physical. So of course, at the point of me going into the hospital, I realized, okay, this is something that I really, really, really need to take a grip on and not take it for granted. So I had to make changes. And one of those changes was gentle iron every single day. So for the last maybe year, probably a year, or just coming up on a year, I've been taking gentle iron and I've been using the brand Ferroglobin. So if you're in the UK, you would know about Ferroglobin. Every single day I take my Ferroglobin, and if I miss a week, because I remember when I was traveling to Montserrat for holidays, I would miss a week of Ferroglobin and my foot would just start swelling. And so I make sure to take this thing every single day. Whenever it's that time of the month, whenever I do remember, I will take it 2 times a day. And of course, the bigger issue is my cycle, right? Because my cycle is why I'm losing all of that blood every single month. And yes, I've looked into it, but hey, some things are just God. Okay, some things are just God. So in addition to that, I make sure to take my multivitamins. and I use the ones from Boots. So these ones contain iron. This on its own definitely would not work because, as I said, when I was traveling to Montserrat for holiday, this is what I walked with on its own, and it didn't work. I was still, you know, I still had to resort to heading to the pharmacy and buying another brand of iron. Trihemic acid is what they would tend to prescribe to you if your blood count is extremely low, and they need it to be, you know, boosted back up really quickly. So within like a week of using these as prescribed, your iron levels should be restored. And so I just have a few additional of these for whenever I feel like, okay, my iron levels are low and I need it to be back up. I think over the years what has happened is that I have picked up like a sense of when my blood levels are low. Like there's certain things that would happen within my body that would automatically tell me, okay, I think you need to do a little bit more with your iron intake. I've also started taking hair and nail vitamins. So at the moment I am using this brand here. What I would say is this has definitely strengthened my nails in particular, and my hair feels a lot stronger as well. So definitely going to be taking these every single day. So these are just some of the things that I've been doing in order to minimize my hair loss. And as you can see, hair loss has reduced significantly since taking all of these vitamins and supplements. What I would say is that these progress does not come overnight. Yeah, so if you're expecting to take this for a week and see results after a week, it's not gonna happen. I started seeing results, I would say, after about 4, maybe 5 months of consistently taking these things. And of course, the cause of your hair loss has to be identified. It could be a case of maybe you are not anemic, and it could be another factor, another health issue, or maybe something that's more external that's causing you to lose hair. You have to know what that is. But what made me really go to check was a visit to my hairstylist, and her pointing out that I had a little bit of balding at the crown of my head. And she said to me, Adina, I see a lot of women that come into this salon with balding, or, you know, those who experience a lot of hair loss. And my advice is always to go to the lab, get a blood work, test for your vitamin D levels as well, and test your iron levels. And that's why I mentioned it's so important to have a good hairstylist that can guide you, because sometimes you're lost in this world. You're doing independent research and you're still not figuring it out. So my stylist in the UK, God bless her, she was the one who really prompted this, and I'm really happy that I took her advice. So that would be my start. Test to see what your iron levels are, and if your iron levels are in fact low, then that could be one of the contributing factors to why you're experiencing hair loss. So guys, it wasn't anything that any particular product, hair product that I was using that caused me to reduce my shedding. It was literally down to health issues and really just trying to ensure that I'm keeping healthy. So if this video helped you in any way, shape or form, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who you think it would benefit, and again, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you haven't yet already, hit the subscribe button, like this video, share this video with a friend, girl. Tell a friend to stop over on my channel, where I try to upload videos almost every single Sunday. So until next week Sunday, guys, take care. Bye.